Today we're jumping into something pretty fascinating. It's where cutting-edge tech is really shaking things up in fields you might not expect.
Right.
We're talking generative AI, and specifically how it's, well, rapidly finding its way into human resources.
It really is remarkable. This tech, it felt quite niche not long ago.
Exactly, and now it feels like it's becoming almost essential everywhere, even in industries like HR that are so focused on, well, people, human interaction.
And what's really compelling, I think, is how generative AI is moving beyond just being a technical idea.
Uh-huh.
It's becoming a practical tool, something that really empowers professionals in roles that were, traditionally defined by those interpersonal skills, like HR.
Yeah.
And it's not just about doing things faster. It's about fundamentally changing how work gets done, how talent is managed.
Absolutely. And that's our mission today, really, to unpack exactly how generative AI is reshaping HR. We're going to use a specific learning path as our guide here. It's the Generative AI for Human Resources, HR Professional Specialization, offered on Coursera.
Ah, yes. Seen that one.
And the key thing is, it's not just theory. It's really designed around practical application. So you can think of this deep dive as maybe your shortcut to understanding the crucial skills and insights needed to actually use this tech in HR.
And our sources, just so everyone knows, are excerpts from the description of that exact specialization.
Right.
It's a well-structured program, and looking at its parts, we can really pull out the core ideas about how AI and HR connect.
So why should you care about this? Well, if you're in HR or thinking about it, or maybe you manage teams that work with HR, understanding these changes isn't just like a nice to have anymore. It's quickly becoming essential.
Definitely.
This deep dive should really shed some light on what's involved in bringing AI into HR, from the basic ideas right through to the hands-on stuff and the really important ethical points. Let's get into it. So this generative AI for human resources specialization, its main goal is pretty clear. Unlock the power of Gen AI within HR.
And it's not just for the super techie people.
No, not at all. It's aimed squarely at current HR pros, people wanting to get into the field, and interestingly, managers or executives looking to bring this AI into their own HR departments.
And I like how it's structured. It's broken down into 3 courses, right? Self-paced.
Yeah, 3 distinct courses. Self-paced, which is great for busy people. They estimate about 4 weeks if you put in maybe 10 hours a week.
Or you could speed it up. 3 weeks at maybe 5-6 hours a week.
Exactly. Each course itself is maybe 6 to 11 hours, so quite manageable chunks.
That flexibility is key.
And the entry point, it isn't super high, which I think is really smart. You don't need to be an AI expert.
No, definitely not.
They suggest an intermediate level of HR knowledge is good. Basic AI familiarity helps, but it's not, like, required.
Which opens it up to a lot more people.
For sure. And when you finish, you get that shareable certificate, for LinkedIn, resumes, maybe even performance reviews. It's a solid credential in a field that's changing so fast.
A tangible benefit. Okay, so what do you actually learn? Course 1.
Right. Course 1, Generative AI, Introduction and Applications. This is the groundwork, building that foundational understanding. You'll learn how to describe generative AI, and importantly, tell it apart from discriminative AI.
And that difference is really crucial for HR folks to grasp.
Why is that?
Well, think of discriminative AI as classifying or predicting, like flighting resumes with certain keywords, or maybe predicting who might leave the company.
Okay, sorting or guessing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Generative AI, on the other hand, creates new things. It could draft a job description, write a personalized onboarding email, even generate training scenarios.
Ah, I see. Creator versus classifier.
Precisely. Knowing that helps you pick the right AI tool for the job and, manage expectations about what it can realistically do. This first course also looks at applications beyond HR, across different sectors, and introduces common AI models for creating text, code, images, audio, video.
So you get the big picture.
You do.
And the skills you start picking up are useful right away. Understanding generative AI, using tools like ChatGPT, getting an intro to prompt engineering, which we'll definitely talk more about,
Oh, yeah.
plus large language modeling, content creation. It's a solid start.
It really is.
Okay, now this is where, for me, it gets really practical and interesting. Course 2, Generative AI, Prompt Engineering Basics.
Yes. This is critical. People talk about this all the time. It's basically learning how to talk to the AI effectively, right? To get what you actually need.
That's exactly it.
Hmm.
This course really breaks down prompt engineering, explains why it's so important, what the best practices are. It's about giving the AI clear, precise instructions, not just, vague questions.
You learn specific techniques to seriously improve how reliable and uh, how good the output from these large language models is.
Can you give an example? Like for HR?
Sure. Think about drafting a summary for a performance review. A really basic prompt might give you something super generic.
Yeah, probably unusable.
Maybe. But with good prompt engineering, you can guide the AI. Tell it to generate a nuanced summary, maybe balanced, incorporating specific feedback points, even asking for a particular tone.
Okay, much more useful.
Way more useful. And this course teaches specific, more advanced ways to do that. Things like the interview pattern.
Interview pattern.
Yeah, it's for getting structured information, and then techniques like chain of thought and tree of thought.
Okay, chain of thought, tree of thought sound complex. Can you give us the quick version? Why should an HR person care about these?
Good question. So chain of thought is basically teaching the AI to think step by step.
Yeah.
You break down a complex task into a logical sequence for it. So instead of just saying, write a new compensation policy, you might prompt it. First, identify key legal regulations in state. Second, analyze current market benchmarks for role. Third, draft a policy framework incorporating points X and Y.
Guiding its process.
Exactly. It leads to much more detailed, accurate results. Tree of thought kind of takes it a step further. It lets the AI explore multiple different reasoning paths or options at the same time.
Woohoo, okay.
Which is really powerful for more complex or strategic HR stuff, like maybe exploring different workforce planning scenarios.
Yeah.
Getting the hang of these is how you get really sophisticated, actionable insights from AI, not just, basic text generation.
Makes sense. And the course covers these hands-on.
Yes, alongside commonly used tools specifically for prompt engineering.
Got it. So bringing it all together, what does this mean for HR day-to-day? That leads us nicely into Course 3, Generative AI, Advance Your Human Resources HR Career.
Right. This is where it all connects directly to the HR function.
This is the payoff course, basically.
You could say that. It really focuses on the direct benefits, the impact, and specific ways to use generative AI in HR.
So moving beyond the what to the how.
Exactly. You gain practical know-how to actually implement AI solutions across different HR areas: recruitment, onboarding, training, performance management.
Like what specifically?
Well, imagine using AI to help draft really personalized onboarding plans for new hires, or automatically generating initial learning suggestions based on their role, or even assisting managers in summarizing complex performance feedback fairly.
Okay, that sounds genuinely useful.
It can be. But crucially, this course also dives deep into the ethics.
Good. That's vital.
Absolutely. Ethical considerations, potential issues, best practices for using AI responsibly in HR. You're ensuring fairness, avoiding bias, compliance.
All the tricky stuff.
All the essential stuff. You even touch on developing an AI adoption roadmap for an HR department and thinking about how to build an AI-enabled team.
So quite strategic, too.
Yes, it looks at how AI can support things like workforce planning and boosting employee engagement, moving it beyond just tactical tasks.
And the skills list for this course is pretty extensive. Performance appraisal, onboarding, data ethics.
Human resources software, employee engagement, HR management and planning, HR tech strategy.
Generative AI, HR, recruitment,
Yeah.
workforce planning. Wow.
Yeah, it covers a lot. And you get experience with specific tools. They mentioned ChatGPT, Google Gemini, IBM watsonx Orchestrate.
Familiar names. Now, one thing that seems to run through this whole specialization is the hands-on element.
Definitely. The description really emphasizes the applied learning projects and hands-on labs.
It's not just listening to lectures, then.
No, it seems very much about doing. You're not just learning about writing good prompts. You're actually writing them for realistic HR situations.
Okay.
The labs seem designed for direct experience. Things like generate text, using generative AI, generating text, images, and code. Just letting you play and experiment.
Get a feel for it.
Exactly. And then it drills down into HR specifically.
Right. You mentioned labs like common applications of generative AI in HR.
And then one's focused on recruitment and onboarding, learning and development, performance review.
Even workforce planning and succession planning. Pretty comprehensive.
It seems like it.
Uh,
And it all builds up to this final capstone project they call the AI-driven day for an HR professional.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it sounds like a great way to pull everything together to see how these tools could actually fit into your daily workflow.
Makes it very real. We should also probably mention who's behind this.
Good point. It's offered by IBM and SkillUp EdTech,
Okay, big names.
both known for focusing on, job-ready practical skills, especially in tech. The instructors listed include folks from the SkillUp EdTech team, plus experts from IBM like Shashri Sridhar, Ravahuja, and Antonio Cangiano.
So, real industry experience there.
Seems likely, yes. Adds credibility.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What's the big takeaway from looking at this specialization?
Well, I think this deep dive shows how a structured learning path like this can give you those crucial, practical, and importantly, ethical insights into using generative AI in HR.
Yeah, it's clearly about more than just understanding the technology itself.
Right. It's about really applying it to make HR functions better,
Hmm.
more efficient, maybe more effective.
And for me, the real aha moment looking through this is seeing how specific skills, like that prompt engineering we talked about, when you combine them with a solid understanding of what the AI can do and the ethical guardrails, how that can directly improve key HR areas, from finding talent right through to planning the workforce strategically and keeping employees engaged.
Absolutely. And it's framed not as replacing human judgment, but augmenting it.
Mhm.
A powerful tool to enhance what HR professionals do.
Which leads to a final thought, something for you, our listener, to think about. As generative AI gets better at handling routine tasks, maybe even some complex ones in HR, what new, uniquely human skills become even more valuable? Things like deep empathy, strategic foresight, complex ethical reasoning. Which of those skills will be absolutely essential for HR pros who really lean into this tech shift?
That's a great question to ponder. What becomes irreplaceable?
Exactly. Something to think about as this technology keeps evolving and reshaping the future of work.